It looks like the beginning of the end for Celia Daniels, and her reign of terror on Emmerdale is finally approaching because she has made the fatal mistake of acquiring two very formidable enemies in Moira Dingle and her husband Cain Dingle. Prior to this massive fallout, Moira was actually happy to be a business partner with Celia, who had persuaded her to join her in the turkey rearing business, which seemed like a lifeline at the time. After some very harsh months financially where things looked bleak for the farm, Moira was relieved to see the new enterprise start to earn some good money, and she was genuinely grateful to Celia for getting her involved. Before we dive deeper into this explosive drama, please take a moment to press the like button and subscribe to Emmerdale today to support the channel. The situation took a sharp turn when a simple phone call from a disgruntled client confused Moira completely. It was one of those moments where the gut instinct kicks in, and you know something just is not right. She went to look for Celia to get some clarification, hoping it was just a simple misunderstanding. But what she found was the start of a nightmare. When she got to Celia's farm, which she had apparently never visited before, despite being business partners, she found the house empty and decided to go inside. She was absolutely shocked at the dilapidated state of the house. It was not the home of a successful businesswoman. It was a wreck. But she was even more shocked when she found a pile of invoices with her signature on them, but for amounts she certainly did not recognize. It was right there in black and white that she was being set up. Moira headed straight off to the Woolpack where she found Celia holding court, and she immediately accused her of doctoring the invoices. It was a tense scene that we have all been waiting for. Celia tried to fob her off by claiming it was the client's fault and promised she would look into it with that fake calm demeanor she has mastered. But Moira was not buying her excuses for a second this time. She became increasingly angry, and you could feel her frustration building to the point where even Caleb, who was at the bar, told her to calm down. That is when Celia showed her true evil colours. She leaned in and whispered to Moira that maybe her problem was that her brain tumour was back. It was such a cruel and calculated low blow. At that moment, Moira saw red and thumped her. In the mayhem that followed, Celia cried crocodile tears and played the victim perfectly. Everyone took her side, believing that Moira had needlessly attacked a perfectly innocent woman who had just been enjoying a quiet drink. It was infuriating to watch the village turn on Moira, when we as the audience know the truth. Cain arrived just in time, and Moira left with him, as people rushed to comfort Celia. This isolation is exactly what Celia wanted, but she forgot that Moira is never truly alone when she has Cain. Back home at Butler's, the reality of the situation started to sink in. Moira told Cain she deeply regretted getting into business with Celia and felt foolish for trusting her. Cain agreed and said he did not trust Ray either after the strange business where Marlon claimed to have crashed his car into Ray's vehicle. It is all starting to connect for them now. They decided they would go over to Celia's farm the next day and ask questions together. You had better brace yourself, Celia, because when Cain and Moira team up, they are a force of nature that cannot be easily stopped. Meanwhile, Celia was fuming about Moira's actions, but she was not too concerned because she had already put in place measures to keep Moira quiet. This is where things get incredibly dark. Celia revealed to Ray that there is a dead body on her land. She pointed out that Moira's signature is all over the invoices, and now she has assaulted her in front of witnesses. She told Ray that Moira could soon find herself under investigation if she made any trouble. It is a terrifying setup because on paper Moira looks guilty of fraud and assault, and potentially worse if that body is discovered and linked to the farm operations. Nevertheless, things are getting too complicated even for a manipulator like Celia. She told Ray to start getting ready to close down their whole operation and move somewhere else. She knows the heat is on. But Ray may not be as cooperative as she would hope, and this could be her undoing. He had just spent the morning taking Bear Joshua Richards to the hospital to get a wound stitched up, which was directly against Celia's orders. It shows he still has a conscience buried somewhere deep down. And he also defied her by going to see Laurel and asking her for another chance for their relationship. With Moira and Cain on her case and Ray starting to rebel, this really could be the end for Celia Daniels. We have seen villains come and go in the Dales, but Celia has a unique kind of coldness that makes her truly dislikable. Using Moira's medical history and her brain tumor fears against her was a new low. It was psychological warfare designed to make Moira look unstable in front of her peers, and it worked in the short term. But the problem with pushing people like the Dingles into a corner is that they come out swinging. The discovery of the invoices was the smoking gun Moira needed, but without physical proof that she did not sign them, it is her word against Celia's. And Celia has the public image of the victim right now, especially after that punch in the woolpack. It is going to be a steep uphill battle for Moira to clear her name. The mention of the dead body on the land raises the stakes significantly. Who is the body? How long has it been there? If Celia manages to pin a death on Moira, in addition to the fraud, we are looking at a storyline that could see Moira facing prison time again. However, the cracks in Celia's armour are appearing in the form of Ray. He is clearly conflicted. His interaction with Bear and his desperate need to patch things up with Laurel suggests he is looking for a way out of this life of crime. If Cain and Moira can get to Ray and leverage his doubts, they might find the witness they need to bring Celia down. Ray knows where the bodies are buried literally and figuratively. He knows about the fake invoices and the scams. If he flips on Celia, her entire house of cards comes crashing down. The scenes at the dilapidated farmhouse were very telling. It showed the desperation behind Celia's facade. She is not this high-flying tycoon she pretends to be. She is a grifter, moving from place to place, leaving destruction in her wake. The turkey business was just another front to launder money or scam locals, and Moira was the perfect mark because she was desperate for cash flow to save her own farm. It is a classic con artist tactic to prey on the vulnerable and then gaslight them when they get suspicious. Cain Dingle is the X factor here. He has an instinct for liars, and he has been suspicious of Ray for a while. The incident with Marlon's car was a loose thread that Celia and Ray failed to snip, and now Cain is pulling on it. When Cain and Moira go to the farm together, the dynamic will shift. Celia could bully and manipulate a confused Moira, but she cannot do the same to Cain. He will see right through the crocodile tears and the deflection. The tragedy of this storyline is how it plays on Moira's insecurities. She prides herself on being a strong businesswoman and a provider for her family. To be duped so thoroughly hurts her pride as much as her wallet. And the fear of her illness returning is a very real trauma that Celia exploited with surgical precision. That whisper in the woolpack was one of the most vicious moments we have seen in a long time. It justified the punch in the eyes of the audience, even if the other characters in the pub did not hear what was said. As we look forward to the next episodes, the tension is unbearable. Will Ray finally stand up to Celia and tell the truth? Will Cain and Moira find the evidence they need at the farm before Celia destroys it or moves on? And what about the dead body? That is a ticking time bomb that is going to explode sooner or later. If the police get involved before Moira clears her name, she is in serious trouble. The writing has been excellent in building this trap around Moira. It felt like a legitimate business struggle story at first, and slowly morphed into a thriller. The shift from financial drama to criminal conspiracy was handled with a creeping sense of dread. Now that the gloves are off and the Dingles are united against a common enemy, we are set for a showdown that will likely change the village forever. Celia thinks she has won by turning the village against Moira and holding the blackmail material, but she underestimates the loyalty of the Dingle clan. When you hurt one of them, you hurt them all. We also have to consider Laurel's role in this. If she gives Ray another chance, she might inadvertently become the catalyst for him turning on Celia. Love makes people do brave things, and Ray might just risk Celia's wrath to be a better man for Laurel. It is a redemption arc waiting to happen. The downfall of Celia Daniels feels imminent, but it will not be clean, and it will not be easy. She is a cornered animal now, and she has shown she is willing to destroy lives to save her own skin. The mention of moving on suggests she is ready to cut her losses, but she will want to leave Moira in ruins before she goes. The race is on to expose her before she vanishes, or before she successfully frames Moira for her crimes. It is going to be a turbulent few weeks in Emmerdale. The combination of Cain's aggression, Moira's determination and Ray's wavering loyalty creates a volatile mix. We can only hope that justice prevails, and that nasty whisper about the brain tumor is the last victory Celia ever gets. Stay tuned because this is going to be a bumpy ride for everyone involved.